Welcome back to the channel. If you're somebody who's been looking at buying a GoPro, you've definitely heard of the Hero 9 Black. And you're probably confused about whether you should buy the Hero 9 Black or not. But in this video, I'm not talking about the Hero 9 Black. You guys already know that I absolutely love this camera. Today, we're talking about GoPro's dark horse do-it-all camera. We're talking about the GoPro Max, which is one of my favorite cameras, and I've been using it for about 2 years now, and I'm still in love with it. Let's get into it. I've used this camera for almost 2 years now, and it's still one of my go-to cameras even today. So the GoPro Max is a 360 camera. It's second of the kind that GoPro's actually made in this category of cameras. It's a lot better than the original 360 camera that GoPro made, that is the GoPro Fusion. The GoPro Max is a lot smaller. It's got a beautiful squared-off design, extremely clicky buttons, and an amazing rubber-coated body. It also has a fantastic vlogging screen that can also be used to change up the settings on the camera. The touchscreen on the GoPro Max is extremely easy to use. It's extremely responsive. The feedback is fantastic, and even though it's a bit smaller than the screen that you actually have on the GoPro 9, it's a lot better than the GoPro 9 screen for me because it has absolutely no lag and the responsiveness is fantastic. Overall, you can also use the screen to vlog because the GoPro Max has lenses on both sides. The GoPro Max, just like every other GoPro camera in their lineup right now, is waterproof. But something that you want to keep in mind when you're considering this camera is that shooting 360 video on this camera underwater is not going to get you the best results. And that's not GoPro's fault. It's actually the fact that these lenses are spherical lenses, and because of the design of the lens, at certain points in times, your image is just not going to look that sharp. With respect to audio quality, the GoPro Max is fantastic. It has a total of 6 microphones on all sides of the body. It has amazing audio. It also has 360 audio, which is fantastic. Furthermore, it has 2 lenses. Each lens has a 180-degree field of view. Each lens can be used individually or can be used together. And on the overall, this camera is a power pack, robust little camera that can be taken with you everywhere and can suit almost every need of filming. I want to give you a quick rundown on the specs. It shoots 360 in 2 ways, where you can shoot 5.6K resolution footage in 360 mode at up to 30 frames per second. And the camera can also shoot a higher frame rate of 60 frames per second when you're shooting at 3K. It also has the ability to shoot hero mode, that is basically making use of one lens, either the lens on the front of the camera or the lens on the back of the camera, and actually using it like a traditional GoPro. When you're shooting in hero mode, the maximum resolution that you're actually going to get 1440p at an aspect ratio of 4.3. But what you have to keep in mind is that GoPro is a really small censored camera. So when you're shooting on a GoPro, you ideally want to shoot on the highest possible resolution at all times, which according to me should be 4K. When you're watching back any of the videos shot on the GoPro Max on your phone, the 1440p max resolution in hero mode is not going to make that much of a difference. On a bigger screen, you're going to see a massive difference between 4K and 1440p, and that's basically because of the size of the sensor. The first few videos that I shot on my channel were shot on the GoPro Max. Honestly, I loved the image quality. I loved the colors. It comes down to personal preference on what you think about the image quality at the end of the day. The GoPro Max, like any other GoPro camera on the market, can shoot amazing time lapses, and it can also shoot time warps. What the GoPro Max does additionally in this case is also shoot time lapses and time warps in 360 mode, which is something that no other GoPro can actually do. What you should know is when GoPro released the GoPro Max, how they differentiated this camera from all the other GoPros in the lineup. They gave the GoPro Max 3 special video features. One was the ability to shoot 360 video. The other feature was a new lens. GoPro has digital lenses, as you guys already know. The GoPro Max has an additional lens which is called Max Super View. Now I've compared Max Super View to the regular Super View that you get on a normal GoPro camera, and Max Max Super View really stands out. The widest lens GoPro's essentially ever made. The third feature that GoPro gave the GoPro Max above all the other cameras was the fact that they improved hyper smooth stabilization. Now we know the GoPro Hero 9 has hyper smooth version 3, but the GoPro Max has something called as Max Hyper Smooth along with horizon leveling. You do get horizon leveling on the newer GoPro Hero 9, but when the GoPro Max actually came out 2 years ago, horizon leveling was a special standalone feature that only this camera had in the entire lineup. And as a matter of fact, even today in 2021, there are only 2 GoPros that have horizon leveling. One's the GoPro Max and the other one is the GoPro Hero 9 Black. It is one of the best kinds of digital stabilization out there in the market, and you're not going to be disappointed.
This is a quick vlogging test of I frankly think the image quality is fantastic. It's really good, amazingly smooth, and I'm a big fan.
Now, when you're looking at photography, the GoPro Max, it's like any other GoPro in the lineup. 360 photographs at a resolution of 16 megapixels. It can shoot 5.5 megapixel single lens photographs. It also has a special ability in the photography department where it shoots the easiest panoramic photograph in the world, and it does this at 6.2 megapixels. The audio quality when I got the GoPro Max actually stood out compared to any of the other GoPros on the market. Now, if you're using this camera in hero mode, well, in that case, the battery life on this camera is fantastic. But if you're going to be shooting a lot of 360 photos and a lot of 360 videos, and especially if you're going to be shooting 360 time lapses and time warps, the battery is going to drain out really fast, and you're going to need at least 2 to get you through the day. We're going to jump into a quick vlog test on the GoPro Max, and I'm also going to show you how you set up your GoPro Max for vlogging and how I like to keep it. I also have a couple of tips for using the GoPro Max, so let's get into it. Okay, so this is a quick vlogging test on the GoPro Max. I am currently filming in hero mode. That's my lens up there, and something that you guys have to know when you're using the GoPro Max is it's so easy to look down at the screen like I am right now, but that's going to break eye contact with the audience, so you always want to look at the lens on top. I have a light right in front of me. I'm using natural light, and I think the image is pretty well lit. I'm going to show you all the digital lenses that GoPro actually has, including the Max Super View lens that this camera particularly has. Let's get into it. I'm standing in the exact same spot. I'm using the narrow lens, which is the tightest field of view possible on the GoPro Max. Prior to this, I was filming in the linear lens, which is the next level. Now we're going to jump into the next lens, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I'm still in the same spot, same lighting conditions, same settings on the GoPro, but we are now using the wide lens, which is a fantastic lens for any kind of action, for just vlogging, because it gives you a really wide field of view. It's extremely punched out. Let's jump into the widest lens that GoPro has ever made, which is the Max Super View lens. Okay, so now we're in the Max Super View lens. As you guys can see, this is an insanely wide lens. It's fantastic for action, POV kind of shot. Definitely the widest lens GoPro's ever made. As you can see, I'm walking around. It's extremely stable. I have Max Hyper Smooth on, and it's a fantastic vlogging camera. What we're going to do next, we're going to jump into a couple of tips for if you're actually using this camera as a vlog camera. So let's get into it. So one of the first tips that I'm going to give you when you're vlogging on the GoPro Max is basically make sure your lenses are clean. These lenses are spherical, and they get really dirty, even with fingerprint, and it actually affects your image when the lenses are dirty. So what you want to do is make sure your lenses are wiped off and completely clean before you start shooting. The second tip that I'm going to give you is with respect to lighting. You can see this image is pretty decently lit. I have a good amount of light on my face so you can see me clearly. I want to show you, standing in the exact same location, how this image actually looks when I close the curtains and cut off the light. So now the light has been cut off, the natural window light is gone, and you can see that this image is not at all pleasing to your eyes. The white balance is all off, the lighting is not great, the image is a lot noisier and grainier, and overall the GoPro Max is not a great camera for if you're vlogging in low light. I'm going to open up the curtains just so that we can go back to the original look and feel that the image had, and this is a lot more natural. Okay, so we're going to quickly jump into the settings that you should be using for vlogging on the GoPro Max. The first setting that we're going to change is the resolution and the frame rate. We're going to jump into this menu. I normally choose 1080p at 24 frames per second. In case you think you're going to have to slow down the footage later, I would suggest using 60 frames per second. You want to keep Max Hyper Smooth on. The lens that I normally use for vlogging is the linear lens. Horizon lock I like to keep on so that I can get the most stable footage possible. You want to keep your bitrate at as high as possible. I normally leave my shutter on auto for the purpose of vlogging because it helps me control my exposure. EV comp I keep at at 0. White balance during the day I normally keep at 5500, but you do have the ability to adjust your white balance basis the time of day and the lighting condition that you're actually shooting in. Minimum ISO 100, maximum ISO 200. Sharpness is normally medium or low because the GoPro does over sharpen its images. With respect to color, I like GoPro colors. I think the punchy saturated look is fantastic, but if you want a color grade in post, you have the ability to shoot in a flat color profile. I'm going to leave it at color for now. Furthermore, with respect to your mics, as you can see, you have a microphone right next to your camera lens, right above your screen. So I always suggest using this microphone, especially when you're vlogging and talking to the camera. So you want to choose the back microphone. With respect to wind reduction, if you're shooting any kind of action sports, I would suggest to keep it on, but if you're just vlogging, the wind reduction can sometimes apply a very strong compression to your voice, and it really messes up the audio in my opinion. So when I'm just doing vlogging kind of content, I would keep it off. A bunch of shortcuts on my screen when I'm using the GoPro Max. One of them is basically the lens that I want to use if I want to change the field of view that I'm filming in. I also have the ability to change into 360 mode and vlog in 360 mode if I ever want. I have my horizon leveling on and off, and last but not the least, I have the ability to switch between my lenses at any given point in time, as you can see. Another major tip that you want to keep in mind is how you're supposed to mount this camera to any of the GoPro tripods or any of the GoPro mount. What you need to realize is that the stitch line on the GoPro Max is along its center. So what you want to do is you want to keep your camera absolutely straight when you're mounting it on a tripod. You definitely don't want to do this, and you definitely don't want to do this, because when you do this, what you're going to get is the entire tripod within your stitch line. If you want that special effect that any 360 camera can actually create, where your selfie stick or your vlogging stick disappears, make sure that your camera is mounted vertically, and you always want to keep one of the lenses pointing towards you so that your face and your body doesn't get cut off and the stitch line doesn't ruin you in the image. When you're shooting any kind of 360 content, you want to keep it to anything between 10 to 15 seconds maximum per clip. When you do this, what you got to keep in mind is that the GoPro is going to save a 360 file, and these 360 files can be viewed on the GoPro player on your computer or on the GoPro app within your phone. What you got to keep in mind is these 360 files first have to be reframed on your phone or on your computer and converted into any aspect ratio that you actually want to use depending on which platform you're making the content for. Export it from the GoPro app or the GoPro player on your computer, take it to your main editing software, and finally run down your edits. Now, one of the main reasons why I would suggest the GoPro Max to any content creator out there is because of ease of use. All you got to do is uncover both your lenses on the GoPro Max, put your camera on a tripod, and hit the record button. You don't have to think about framing, you don't have to think about aspect ratios, you don't have to think about making sure your subject is in the shot, because the GoPro Max is going to capture everything that's happening around you. Coming down to the final word, there are a ton of action cameras in the market. This video, we're not talking about any of them. We're talking about just the GoPro Max versus the Hero 9 and any other GoPro camera that's in the market right now. And I know a lot of people out there are really confused about whether they should buy the camera right now in 2021. If you're somebody who's already been into GoPro, already have a Hero 8, or you already have a Hero 9 and you need a supplementary camera, a B cam, definitely going to say that you should look into the GoPro Max, because the kind of diversity that it can bring as a 360 camera is fantastic. Furthermore, it can be used as a B cam to your current GoPro 8 or your GoPro 9. But if you're somebody who's absolutely new to GoPros and you have no idea about the entire filmmaking process and you're just new to content creation, well, the Hero 9 itself is a fantastic camera, and you can actually learn a lot about framing, getting the shot, standard video and filmmaking on the Hero 9. But if you're somebody who doesn't care about any of that, you don't care about filmmaking techniques, you don't want to spend time framing up your shots, somebody who just wants to capture the moment, you just want to create moments that you can post on various platforms on social media, and you want to do a little bit of vlogging on this side, you want to do a little bit of content creation on the side, the GoPro Max is definitely up your alley. It's a fantastic camera even today, 2 years after it was released. The only caveat that you got to keep in mind is the resolution and the frame rate, but on the overall, it's a fantastic camera. It has amazing audio quality, and it's definitely one of the best 360 cameras on the market even today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something today, and if you did, definitely hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification, because there's going to be a lot more content. Stay tuned for more. This was Nitin Chawla, and this was Essential Tech. See you next time.